Hi, my mug back again to have a few things to say about geology and dating of rocks. And a question that popped up at one of our meetings over the weekend about how do you show that the Earth really is old and that our understanding that the Earth is old actually has real life consequences. And some creationists will bring this up that it's just speculation and all based on radiometric dating. Well, boy, I had a fast answer on that one. You drive a car, you put oil in it. Where do you think the geologists and the petroleum geologists and the oil companies get the oil from? They follow standard geological procedures because they know how oil is formed millions of years ago, so it's not popping up just willy-nilly. They look for it in the kinds of rock deposits, oceanic beds and the like that have gotten covered over and the stuff percolated, just as coal formations occur in ancient forests. And so the geology is used to figure out where to go to look. And just as an empirical point, I don't know of any oil company now or ever that has ever relied for a fraction of a second on creationist geologists to find oil for them. Nope, they use the real geology because this is the money game. And so every time you fill up at the gas tank, you're doing it successfully because creationism doesn't work. But beyond that is the silly idea that geology couldn't figure out how old the Earth was without radiometric dating. And here we're not talking radiocarbon dating because that's only good for about 50,000 years, and geological deposits are usually way older than that. The geologists were able to work out how old the Earth was in the 17th, 18th, and 19th century, long before radiometric dating came along. So the idea that all of this is dependent and evolution is dependent on radiometric dating is just flapdoodle. One particular spot that's really neat that got one geologist, Hutton, going in the 1800s was Siccar Point, Siccar, and I'll put a link up to Paul Braderman's really nice survey of the implications of that in the notes to this video, and also a link to my Dinomania chapter from my hashtag tip project, which goes into quite a bit on flood geology and the radiometric dating issue and a bunch of other stuff relating to creationism. Siccar Point was this weird mishmash of layer on layer on layer of tilted and eroded deposits that look like a crazy quilt. And Hutton was thinking, how could that possibly have formed? There would take time for a layer to come down, and then time for part of it to erode away, and time for it to be tilted, and time for more stuff to come down, and more layers to be put in, and those would be eroded. And so this weird chevrons of this on top of that, on top of that, um, and all smooshed around, couldn't possibly be accounted for in the kinds of frame that you could see as to how long deposits, gravel and things, were actually seen to form in actual river deposits. And creationists have paid very, very little attention to it. There's a scattering of attempts to dismiss Siccar Point and deposits like it that are all around the world that show that slow, steady processes of erosion and deposition and plate movements. Now we understand plate tectonics. Those things were able to work out bit by bit kind of how old the Earth was. And long before radiometric dating came along, within a ballpark figure, they were thinking about 500 million years for the fossilized life period from the Cambrian on. And that's pretty much accurate. If you track how the dating was changed by the radiometric issues, it didn't really radically change the datings for the geologic periods we knew about. What it did was radically expand how much had gone on before then, because you didn't have any fossils to tell, and so much of it had been eroded away. There's virtually no seafloor that dates back before the Jurassic. Only little snippets of it get pushed up into some deposits that you find. There's a little teeny snippets of Cambrian rock that are in my own Washington state, but you don't find that all over the place. And so trying to piece together the puzzle of what was going on a billion years ago, 2, 3, 4 billion years ago, that's taken a lot more work, and it was helped along quite a bit by the development of radiometric dating, which I can go into eventually on another subject matter. But anyway, this hopefully will settle some of the points. If you need to have some quick ammunition for creationists that go harumph harumph, we don't really know how old the Earth is, and it doesn't really matter, does it? I'm afraid so it does. Fill her up.